Wes, hi everybody, and welcome to yet another video. Well then, my dear friends, you know European law. You know I always criticize everything and everybody objectively. With a cold mind, I do not reach for negative emotions, nor do I scream on camera. But this heresy can no longer be tolerated, of course. This is a review of The Rings of Power, Season 2, Episode 7, and I am very, very angry indeed. And not only because of what the Amazon people are doing, but also because wherever I look on the internet, the biggest channels are making the worst decisions ever. Whether we are talking about the shills like the One Ring.net or the Fellowship of Fans, who are just wanking over each and every single piece of desecration Prime Video is doing, but also the other side of the barricade, those culture critics that most of you do follow and love, like a certain Scottish YouTuber just today tweeted, "Well, guess what the Lord of the Rings has turned into?" And I had to retweet it and like, no, hey, buddy, listen. This is not what the Lord of the Rings has become right now, because he said something like, "Look at what the Lord of the Rings has become." No, this is false statement. What you are watching on Prime Video, this isn't like anything even remotely connected with Tolkien. In no way, shape, or form, this has got nothing to do with Tolkien. And these phrases that they use, like, "Look what they did to our favorite franchise." This made people hate the original Star Wars. Nothing can taint Tolkien, but we are here to criticize the show. And so far, this episode has made me the most angry I've ever been. We are focusing on Eregion and the battle for Eregion. And of course, the latest episode ended on a cliffhangerish note when Galadriel was captured by the Amazon's original character, Adar, who right now is really the second Dark Lord, not Sauron as it supposed to be, according to the law, you know. Sauron came after Morgoth around the age 1200 of the Second Age then, guised himself as Anatar, and first tried to somehow weave himself in under the wings of Gil-galad and Círdan, but they of course didn't believe him, and so he went to Eregion to the smiths, and because Celebrimbor was Feanor's grandson, and he wanted to not only reach the heights of his grandfather, but outshine him. He, of course, accepted this opportunity to be able to create jewels even better than the Silmarils were. That was the 1200 of the Second Age. And then it was like 3000. I made a note actually. 3262 of the Second Age. Then Ar-Pharazôn captured Sauron and took him to Numenor. That's like 2000 years. So already, this is like the time compression, right? So at the point where we are now in Eregion, Ar-Pharazôn shouldn't have been born at all. But this is a minor thing, because as I said multiple times, there is no point, absolutely no point whatsoever in comparing this to anything that Tolkien wrote. What really should matter if we are making one adaptation or another is not sticking to like one detail after another, not to make everything like fit perfectly, but to at least bloody keep the core of the work of art the same, the way Peter Jackson did. And so when there is an Adar character who is really the second Dark Lord, because he now rules over the orcs. They are calling him father, not Sauron. They actually hate Sauron. And in the latest episode, Adar actually wanted to team up with Galadriel to defeat Sauron. So everybody now wants to defeat Sauron. And at one point during that battle, when Elrond with Gil-galad come to Eregion to save it, from the armies of Adar, he actually brings up Galadriel in her cage, and so they of course have to stop their approach on horses, and they have a little parley in a tent, and Adar tries to actually make the elves leave or attack Sauron instead of him. So at one point, I swear, at one point, it looks as if the armies of the elves, being led by Gil-galad and by Elrond, in extremely unfitting armor, they look like the guy from Spaceballs, the Darth Vader Master Helmet or whatever he was called. Two big helmets. So at one point, it looks as if they were going to team up the elves with the orcs against Sauron. Well, they don't in the end. And Adar threatens Elrond. Alright, so if you do not give me Nenya, because he wants the ring, right? He wants Galadriel's ring. If you don't give me Nenya, because Elrond has it right now, it's all so confusing. I will kill Galadriel. So we shall see on the field of battle. So somehow Elrond manages to persuade Adar not to kill Galadriel, but at the same time not give him the ring. It was written by idiots. And then the greatest desecration comes. Elrond says his goodbyes to Galadriel, and he very, very openly, very non-casually, reaches for a brooch on his cloak, unclasps it. Then he goes to Galadriel, says his goodbyes, and he passionately, lovingly, erotically kisses her on her lips. He kissed his mother-in-law. He kissed his mother-in-law, who at the time of these events should have already been married, Galadriel, to Celeborn, and should have had a daughter of her own. Well, of course, he did that so he can give her the brooch. Why? Oh, so she can unclasp her shackles and then escape in a hood among an army of orcs just moving around. Seeing Adar looking at orcs that fell in battle and crying, and then she realizes, oh, you all have feelings and emotions. You care for the orcs. You cry for each and every single fallen Adar. So they are making their own made-up villains into likable characters. They are making elves into a bunch of nitwits. They are making Elrond kiss his mother-in-law passionately. That kiss was... I thought that the latest kiss, when Sam kissed Rajesh the Hobbit, I thought that was the most disgusting thing I saw there. They stopped it. Because at least those two in the latest episode was two Amazon's original characters kissing. I was like, ugh, but yeah, like half the damage done. But this, two Tolkien's characters who are like family related. No, it was too much, man. So in the meanwhile, Celebrimbor is under the influence of Darth Vader. Why am I saying Darth Vader? Because Anatar is using the Force now. Yes. So not only is he creating a false reality around Celebrimbor and making him into an amnesiac with Alzheimer's disease, who forgets things all the time, but he also moves his hands around and makes elves do shit and kill each other. So he just does this, and elves go like, at one point, I swear, at one point, it looked like he was doing a force choke. Like, not like this. He had his hands by his body, but he was like moving his hands and the elves were giving out like these choking sounds, and I was like, "Are you doing a force choke?" So, and even before that, there was a little Green Mile moment when Celebrimbor was spending time creating the Nine Rings. Oh, I will get to that. And he was enjoying a company of a mouse, and he was chasing a mouse around his smithy. And that's actually how he discovered that it was all an illusion, because Sauron created this illusion around Celebrimbor, but he wasn't even able to make the illusion proper. He made the illusion to go in circles, which I mean, but it's like a tape. It's like when you tape something, and the length of that video is 5 minutes, and it goes like around and again and again and again and again. It's like it's like there's some sort of an MSMR AMSR video. Like you've got like a burning fire in a hearth, and then like the fire is burning for like 5 minutes, and then the recording goes from the beginning. So he sees the pattern. The mouse just is doing the same thing over and over again, and he recognizes, oh, it's all an illusion. Sauron made a video, and it goes from the beginning to the end, and again and again and again. And that's how I know I'm in the middle of an illusion. So he sees that actually it's not like peaceful around him. And there was a scene when he was standing on a balcony drinking tea. I'm not joking. Grandpa Celebrimbor was standing on a balcony drinking Earl Grey, sighing with passion. So he knows. So he wakes up and everything's in like ruins. And I said to myself, how were you able to create the Nine Rings in a smithy that had been destroyed and is all in ruins? There wasn't a stone left untouched. Everything was crumbled and crashed. Must be a very good smith there, Celebrimbor. Well, he is. He is the grandson of Fëanor, isn't he? And so he makes Sauron another, makes him create the Nine Rings. And do you know how they explained that he can seduce humans by giving them the rings? Do you know how they explained the power of the rings and how they actually, because they explained how they work. They actually explained how the rings for men work so that they bind them to Sauron. Because Sauron swapped the mithril that Celebrimbor was supposed to use for making the rings. He swapped the mithril for his blood. And so the rings are now made not of mithril, but of Sauron's blood. Well, there we go then. Jesus Christ, this is so bad. Yeah, so. And then there are things that are absolutely forgettable. The rest is fillers. The rest is fillers. Like there is this subplot of the Khazad-dûm and the fact that um the younger Durin, once again, I'm repeating for like a millionth time, there were never two Durins living, two King Durins or a prince and a King Durin living at the same time, because according to the Dwarven law, each and every single King Durin is a reincarnation of the original Dwarven lord. Never mind. So the younger Durin wants to go help Eregion. He wants to overthrow his father. It's absolutely forgettable. And then of course, Galadriel escapes, and she's saved by Arondir, who I don't care about spoiling this shit. Arondir, I think he dies. He fights Ada for like 5 seconds, and Ada like stabs him. Who cares? No, nobody will miss that character. And then there was like an Asian chick elf, and she dies as well. And there was a black Arabian looking dwarf. Ah, yeah. This is awful. The greatest desecration. The greatest desecration was the kiss. And they once again they wanted to leech on the law and the books and Peter Jackson's adaptations, and there was this line uttered: "At the first rays of sunlight, Durin will come." So they were looking towards the east and wait for the dwarfs. They didn't come. He didn't repeat that scene, but I really I was angry today. Like two things made me very angry. The kiss scene that just that just made my blood boil, and those tweets that I read in the morning, because I am just angered by the fact that very few channels are doing what I am doing, like criticizing the thing for what it is. It's both a desecration of Tolkien's name, but at the same time nothing to do with Tolkien, but at the same time is a very bad show on its own, because plot holes and nonsensical stuff all the time. For instance, when the orcs attack Eregion, they turn their catapults at a rock above the river, and they throw rocks at a rock, at a mountain, because they want to dam the river so they can get to Eregion on foot. Do you know how much firepower and explosives would you need to break a mountain so that mountain crumbles and it dams a river? You need a lot of explosives, and not just rocks being thrown from a catapult. Nonsensical stuff like that. And then there was, and I swear I was dozing off during the battle. So while I was dozing off, I can remember a troll lying on the ground, being stabbed by like dozen of elves, and laughing hysterically. I'm not lying. There was a troll being stabbed by elves, and he was laughing like a maniac. Well, if there was more than one episode left of this season, I swear, I would have to let myself be committed to a mental asylum. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. I will. Thank you very much for watching, and I'm out of here.